CBS News Bay Area, this is the Morning Edition.
Breaking right now, a big shake rumbles Humboldt County. Dishes, lamps, tables, chairs all down. We are taking a look at all the damage done as neighbors react.
You knew it was a big one. Definitely a lot of north-south shaking and evidence to what happened in our house. Lots of stuff off the walls, lots of kitchen cupboards open, lots of furniture fell over.
And Justin Andrews is here to give us more of a look on that in just a bit. We are now in the final week before Christmas, so last-minute shoppers are furiously making final purchases. But before you click checkout, we have a warning for you from the FBI. Busy in the South Bay, a lot of busy hands right now in the South Bay, preparing a very special thank you for Bay Area farm workers. How a holiday tradition will touch their hearts and their stomachs. And we are continuing our focus on feeding Bay Area families. This morning we speak with the CEO of the Redwood Empire Food Bank about the hard work this holiday season. But we're going to begin with some breaking news. Humboldt County Sheriff's Office of Emergency Services says 2 people have been injured in this morning's 6.4 earthquake that shook this area in Northern California. It was reported first around 2:30 this morning, about 12 miles west of Ferndale. That's more than 200 miles north of San Francisco. The National Weather Service said no tsunami was expected. The CHP is closing the Fern Bridge, the main bridge out of Ferndale. They're doing this out of caution. This is a photo you're looking at. Caltrans tweeted showing cracks across the road. Emergency Services is also reporting widespread damages to homes and roads, specifically in Eel River Valley. Reporter Austin Castro is at the scene of the damaged bridge.
A very scary situation for those of here on the North Coast. The earthquake came in just after 2:30 a.m. and jolted many of us awake who were just, completely asleep. And I just kind of want to show you some of the damage we've seen here. We're here in Fernbridge, and this right here is kind of the main thoroughfare into the town of Ferndale. And you can see Caltrans currently have this blocked off to traffic. And given that this is the main thoroughfare into Ferndale, it's definitely, a very, noticeable impact to the community. Now, crews are out here continuing to inspect the damage, but I can tell you, as you mentioned, that PG&E has reported that 55,000 customers are currently without power. As we were driving down from Arcata here to Fernbridge, there were basically no businesses, very few businesses, I should say, that still had their power remaining, and just, lots of calls of people without power at this time. Thankfully, there is no tsunami warning, according to the Humboldt County Sheriff's Office. That's been a very big concern, but there have been some minor aftershock that I know we've been feeling across the North Coast, all the way up from Arcata to down here in the Fortuna and Ferndale area. Now, at this point, again, there's no estimated time as to when this bridge will reopen or when many of the power outages will be restored.
We're seeing a lot of damage up there and a lot of people impacted by this. Our Justin Andrews is following the latest on the reaction we're seeing in the Humboldt County area. You've been keeping an eye on a lot of tweets that have been coming out.
Yeah, and there's been so many tweets all morning long. People have been just tweeting those pictures, those jaw-dropping videos of damage from the quake right here and all of the aftershocks that came with it, that came along with it. Now, Caroline Titus, she tweeted this video earlier. This is a coffee station at her 140-year-old Victorian home. I spoke with her earlier, and she told us what the conditions were about 30 minutes ago. Take a listen.
Well, luckily the neighborhood is fine. It definitely, as you know, when you experience an earthquake, it definitely was a moment of, okay, what are we dealing with here? And then you knew it was a big one. Definitely a lot of north-south shaking and evidence to what happened in our house. Lots of stuff off the walls, lots of kitchen cupboards open.
Now, these are the tweets we've been keeping our eye on all morning. This woman says her kid felt this earthquake and she's too far away for help for her kid, and they're also without power this morning. I want to show you this other tweet from Jay Reed saying, big earthquake, no power, the house is a mess. My animals are in hiding, but we're okay, kind of. And Mama W posted, quote, hope everyone is okay in the Ferndale area of Humboldt County. We got the earthquake alert on our phones in San Jose. She says right now they are still without power. And keep in mind, Amanda, this quake was first reported at 2:30 this morning. So that's now 7 hours. So many people have been without power.
Yeah, it's a good reminder to have that toolkit ready to go just in case this happens to you here. And our CBS News Bay Area seismograph captured the moment the quake happened. So for a closer view here, you can see the big spike in red. That's when it the earthquake happened and then it fades away. It's important to note there have been aftershocks too, and Justin touched on it a little bit. PG&E says right now 70,000 customers are without power. So you can see the number of outages here on the PG&E map, all concentrated right there on the coast. We have our own crew on the way there now too. We will bring you live reports as soon as they arrive. But for more information right now, you can go to our website at kpix.com. And right now we are joined by First Alert meteorologist Jessica Birch with more on this earthquake. Jessica.
You know, I really want to highlight the aftershock because, yes, at 2:30 this morning, many were out without power after this major earthquake happened just west-southwest of Ferndale. Now, since then, though, there's been plenty of aftershock, both offshore and onshore, too, heading even up into the Trinity Alp areas. So we have been keeping a close eye on that. This ranges anywhere from 2.9 shocks, anywhere up to 4. So this is a very big deal right now in Northern California. That ranges anywhere from Trinidad all the way down into Eureka and, of course, past that down south near Ferndale where that major quake happens. Now, as we take a look at the air quality back here in the Bay, just a little bit more south, things aren't looking the best right now. We're sitting in an unhealthy category anywhere for our friends in the North Bay, even down into the Santa Clara Valley, too. It hasn't been a pleasant morning for us by any means when it comes to the air quality. So if you are sensitive to it like I am, just make sure you have that mask handy as you head out the door and keep a water bottle handy, too. A live look from the Mount Diablo cam right now. It's a little bit of haze. It's a little bit of clouds. But no matter what, it is a gloomy start to our day. We're dealing with mid to low 40s right now all throughout the Bay Area. If you're heading to SFO to catch a flight to head out of town with your loved ones, the weather is looking great here, but I can't say that's the case throughout the rest of the state. Some of the Midwest is dealing with major winter storms right now. Current temperatures back here in the Bay sitting in the upper 50s, and that'll continue to be the case for us today and tomorrow, and even as we head into this beautiful weekend with a gradual warming trend and just in time for Christmas time. Some scattered showers in the North Bay for us today, just a quick little drizzle if anything. We'll keep you updated on that, but for now, over to you.
Well, while you are doing your last-minute shopping, scammers are finding new ways to get your money. We break down the 2 most common scams this year and how you can avoid them. A lot of fog out there this morning. Well, it's the final week before Christmas. The countdown is on, and most of us are finishing up some last-minute shopping. So if you're doing it online, we have a warning from the FBI. The agency says scammers are getting more aggressive this holiday season. Just check out these numbers. Last year, more than 2,100 cyber crime complaints were reported to the FBI. The losses added up to $8 million lost. And according to the lead investigator for our local division of the FBI, there are 2 common types of online shopping scams you need to know about: non-payment and non-delivery crimes. In non-delivery scams, an online shopper pays for an item or service but never gets it. Non-payment scams are when a seller ships goods or provides services but never gets paid.
They work very hard to steal your money. Fewer individuals being taken advantage of, but those who are, the amount that is being taken is significantly higher.
Though people are more and more aware of scammers, the scammers are getting smarter. More than $7 million in losses just from January through October this year before the holiday season. That's greater than the entirety of 2020. So here are a few tips from the FBI. Use strong passwords. Use a credit card instead of a debit card. Don't ever pay in gift cards. If a deal is too good to be true, it probably is, and make sure you shop directly from a vendor's website. If you believe you've been a victim of a scam, you are urged to report it to the FBI at ic3.gov. Speaking of our money, here's your Money Watch report. U.S. stocks dipped for a 4th straight day Monday. So let's see where the markets are today. Dow's up in the green, 123 points. Now the indexes were a little bit mixed this morning when we first opened. Wells Fargo has agreed to a multi-billion-dollar settlement with the government over customer abuses. The San Francisco-based bank will pay a total of $3.7 billion. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau says this includes more than $2 billion to consumers. Now, the abuses involve mortgages, auto loans, and overdraft fees. The government says thousands of victims lost homes or had their cars repossessed. Many of them had payments on loans misapplied by the bank. Video game company Epic Games will pay $520 million to settle claims that violated child privacy laws. It is the largest fine ever for violating FTC rules. Federal regulators accused Epic Games of collecting child and teen data without parents' consent. The interactive battle game, with more than 400 million players around the world, is generally free to download, but makes money from in-game purchases.
All right, let's take a quick look outside right now at SFO, where the skies above us, well, it's a little hazy, but there's no weather delays, at least here in the Bay Area. As we take a look at today's travel forecast, if you are planning on heading out of town to any of these local areas throughout the states, things are looking pretty clear, but I will say this, the Midwest is dealing with a major winter storm pushing in from the north. The National Weather Service has issued a frost advisory, a freeze warning. I could go on for days, a winter storm warning all throughout those areas. But back here in the Bay, none of that. It is beautiful for us today. We are under a spare the air alert day, though. Upper 50s are expected for our daytime highs this afternoon. It is mild for us all throughout the Bay. We might see a splash of showers up into the north, just near Santa Rosa as we head into the evening, but it's very light, and the models are starting to show drier and drier conditions. But on the bright side, we do see a chance of showers return into the forecast as we head into next Monday night into Tuesday morning. So a close eye on that, too. But Christmas is right around the corner, folks, and we need to start talking about our holiday plans. If you are staying in town, well, you're in luck. It's beautiful weather for us as we head into the next couple days. Let's take a look at San Francisco, for example. Upper 50s for now, low 60s as we head into Christmas Day. But all of our microclimates are doing something special for the holiday season, and upper 60s are expected for our San Jose friends all throughout Saturday and even into Sunday. So if you have outdoor plans that you want to do for Christmas Day that don't include snow, and if you're not heading up to the Sierra Tahoe area, it's a perfect opportunity to have that done here. Now, a very similar setup even for our friends in the North Bay, too. Right now, we're sitting in the upper 50s, upper 60s return into the forecast just in time for the holiday season. So plenty to do across the board. The weather's cooperating with us for this holiday. And of course, partly cloudy skies even throughout the rest of this week to get any last minute Christmas shopping done. We're keeping a close eye on the models. We might even see it splash of showers continuing into the next couple days up in the North Bay. Most of those storms are tracking north, though. We'll have more on that coming up in just a bit. But for now, over to you.
Coming up, we will tell you about a true labor of love happening in the South Bay. The extra special holiday celebrations underway to thank our Bay Area farm workers. Thanks for staying with us. Let's go right back to that earthquake in Humboldt County. It's an important reminder that we can't be too safe when it comes to natural disasters. So joining us via Zoom is our science editor, Brian Hackney. Hey, Brian, tell us a little bit more about the science behind an earthquake.
Well, this is a part of California that gets shaken up more than a castanet at a Cinco de Mayo party. I mean, it is right around where the subduction zone is, meaning it's kind of where the San Andreas fault we need to worry about intersects a subduction zone, and it's a very complicated region. It's called the Juan de Fuca Plate, and so it's a mix of the San Andreas, and the San Andreas, you know, when we get an earthquake, it moves like this. Let me adjust my camera so my hands can appear. It moves left to right. I see you're showing pictures of damage right now. That's common up around Ferndale. I mean, sweeping up glass in Ferndale happens not infrequently. So the San Andreas, which moves as a strike-slip fault like this, intersects a subduction part of the fault, which is not the San Andreas, that kind of dives under the continent. And that's why we have volcanoes up on the North Coast. We've got Mount Lassen, Shasta, Lassen. All of the Cascade volcanoes are because of subduction, where the seafloor plunges underneath the Northern California, the Pacific Northwest coast. Crust goes down 60 miles inland, you get volcanoes. This earthquake is just one tiny little microframe of this kind of action that has been going on for tens of millions of years. And so it's just a shot in a movie frame. Magnitude 6s, magnitude 7s, not uncommon. So while, of course, it causes damage, You know, it's not a surprise. Sure, isn't a surprise to people up in Ferndale. It happens to them.
I mean, especially at 2:30 in the morning, but that seems, you know, you and I have been in California for so long that we know this is not an uncommon thing that we always need to be prepared for. All right, so this happened about 200 miles north of San Francisco. Is this something similar that we could see right here in the Bay Area?
Well, could we get a magnitude 6? Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Not the same mechanism, but who cares about the mechanism? I mean, if you're going to get a magnitude 6, we did get a magnitude 6 up in the North Bay about 8 years ago. You know, the Napa quake was around a 6, and that caused a lot of damage. And so we're expecting something even bigger here. You know, the Hayward Fault last went in a big way. It last went in a small way over the weekend, but in a big way, the Hayward Fault last snapped about a magnitude 6.8, far more energetic than this one, in 1868. And you go, 1868, you know, that's back in the wild, wild west. Well, research has shown the Hayward Fault goes about once every 160 years, 1868, 160. That means 2028. Now, they don't go off like clockwork. We're just in this very broad geologic window, but we're there for a big quake on the Hayward.
Yeah, we all keep talking about when is the next big one. So we definitely...
Well, nobody knows. But
we don't know.
Yeah, but we're in the window.
Yeah, and it's important to be prepared as much as possible, especially with what we saw this morning. A lot of people without power for a long time. So do what you can to prepare yourself and your family. Brian Hackney, our science editor, we always appreciate talking to you, and thank you for your knowledge and sharing it with us. Attention Giants fans, the new face of the franchise is getting his official introduction this morning. All-Star World Series winning shortstop Carlos Correa is the next big player in orange and black after the Yankees re-signed Aaron Judge. Giants fans were not sure where we were going from there. Luckily, we splurged on a player who has the experience and talent for a multi-year deal, 13 years to be specific, worth just a little $350 million. The shortstop is coming off a Minnesota Twins season with a 291 batting average and a 467 slugging percentage. A lot of busy hands right now at work in the South Bay making thousands of tamales. We'll show you how they are preparing a very special thank you for Bay Area farm workers.
We learned it from our family, because it's tradition. It's been in families for generations.
To the South Bay now, where it is a true labor of love. You can see it right here. That's because these volunteers have put their hands to work to make thousands of tamales to give back and say thank you to our Bay Area farm workers who harvest the food on our tables every single day. This morning, Devin Feely with more on this extra special holiday tradition.
My background is farm working, picking strawberries in Salinas Valley, and so I can relate to the hard labor.
Betty Martinez says even Parkinson's disease and a pesky trimmer in her hands wasn't going to stop her from pitching in, rolling dozens of tamales for farm workers and their families.
I've had Parkinson's for about 10 years, and although my mobility is getting more and more limited, I still try.
More than 100 volunteers like Betty help to cook and roll and make more than 3,000 tamales. It will be the centerpiece of a special Christmas celebration and meal for farm workers in Half Moon Bay. Many of the volunteers say it's their way of giving back.
It's a day of giving where we come together, we make tamales, and we deliver them to the farm workers.
Maria Salazar Mencia says she learned to make tamales at the hip of her mother and tias as a child. She says it is work, but it's also like getting a gift of joy and community.
Tamale making is always turns out to be a party, and people getting together, the conversation, the music. Tamale making is a big party.
Both Betty and Maria were at the experts table. They're skilled, practiced hands, an essential ingredient in this special holiday meal.
I came out because I'm continuing decades of community service in East San Jose.
All of the food that's made here today will eventually make its way to the coast for an extra special celebration there, honoring farm workers, food for the body, and nourishment for the soul.
Well, that's it for the news at 9. Coming up next on the Drew Barrymore Show, actor Daniel Radcliffe joins the show. But for more local headlines, including weather, join us on our streaming service, CBS News Bay Area. I hope to see you there.